Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to another movie review and another revisit review for another film from 1993, so 25th anniversary. I've already reviewed this though, but you can check back on my previous review. But I'll try to make it much shorter though. But reviewing one of my favorite Schwarzenegger films growing up with me and my brother, and that is Last Action Hero. I still say it's an underrated gem. That's why I put my previous review on the title, underrated gem. I think it still is. Love this film to death. I think it still is an underrated gem. That's why I put it there. I mean, it's just what more I can say about Last Action Hero. It was just absolute fun and entertaining, and I just love the whole idea, of a movie within a movie. And Arnold Schwarzenegger playing Jack Slater, and the whole thing of this kid that he's a big fan of movies, and he gets put into the film Jack Slater 4. He gets put into the movie, and he's pointing out like all the cliches and the puns and lines and all that stuff. It's like, oh, this is a movie and all that. And it's just so fun. It's also especially directed by John McTiernan, who directed Die Hard, The Hunt for Red October, and also with Schwarzenegger, Predator, and of course the third film of Die Hard with a Vengeance. But then he went to go on stuff like direct the remake of Rollerball. That was just beyond crappy. But we got Die Hard with a Vengeance, The Hunt for Red October, and Predator. John McTiernan did a great job with this film. But the film didn't do that well because it opened like a week after of Jurassic Park came. Because we all know how Jurassic Park was big during the summer of 1993. And it was a bad timing because this came out a week after Jurassic Park came out and didn't do that well. Because it was just taking away all the money, so. But, regardless though, I think it's funny. As well as I give credit to the script, and there's two people, David Arnott and especially Shane Black. Now, with Shane Black, I did not like Iron Man 3 that he directed. Or, care to see The Predator. But he directed The Nice Guys, I like though. But two films one I did not like, but one I don't look forward to seeing. But as a writer though, he did some good, like he wrote on The Last Boy Scout with Bruce Willis. I love The Last Boy Scout. And of course on The Lethal Weapon. But other stuff too from the action film. So, as a writer, yeah, but as a director, no. Well, two of three films that he directed, one I didn't like and one I don't look forward to seeing. But I give credit to the script because it's a film. It's a satire take on action films with explosions, puns, cliches, and all that stuff. And it's like all that stuff is over the top on purpose. That's why I loved about it. It was just over the top on purpose, and Arnold was having fun in the role as playing Jack Slater, especially a fun character named Jack Slater. So, and not to mention, if you watch Ready Player One during the car race right before the T-Rex in Ready Player One, they drive past the theater. It says Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jack Slayer 3. So that was a good Easter egg too. At least they mentioned you see a thing about a nod to Last Action Hero in Ready Player One. So that was a good nod to that one. But and also the thing is though, what the film was there was a lot of hype for this film because this came out in 1993. And the film Schwarzenegger did before was Terminator 2, and that was a huge success back in the summer of 1991. It was huge. A lot of people were wondering after this big hit that he had. People were wondering what film he was going to do next, and look forward to seeing that. And a film called Last Action Hero, where it's a whole bunch of action and all that stuff, and there was hype for it. And I guess people didn't like the idea that it was a satire. I guess. Probably another reason why the film didn't do that well. Not because of Jurassic Park, but people are looking forward to Schwarzenegger's next film, And finally, as a satire and all that stuff on a take on action films. I guess people didn't get the interest on that. I guess, but I don't get the hatred for this film. I think it's fun, and that the whole thing is being over the top on purpose, and I just don't get it because I like the whole premise. This kid named Danny, played by Austin O'Brien, who I reviewed in the film called Prehysteria, which I liked. He was in that film, but he's still alright to me. I never did think he was terrible in this film, but he's a kid who likes movies and going to the movies a lot, and he gets excited for Jack Slater's next up Arnold Schwarzenegger's next film, the sequel of Jack Slater 4, and or one moment where another funny scene where it's funny where he's at school, right, and you have a cameo appearance by Joanne Paul Wright as his teacher, showing a little Joanne Paul Wright, who was Dennis the Menace and 101 Dalmatians and Disney's Dinosaur, among other films she's been in. She plays to her class of Hamlet of Laurence Olivier. And I think that's a playing that in real life that Joanne Paul was married to Laurence Olivier. But Danny imagines if Arnold Schwarzenegger was Hamlet, and was like, "Hey Claudius, you killed my father." Big mistake. I love the whole thing with if Schwarzenegger was to take on Hamlet. Say that, my fair prince. Who says unfair? He's just blasting white knights with machine guns. And no one's gonna kiss this sweet prince good night. To be or not to be. Not to be. I love that. I love that. It's just I just loved it. So he goes to the movie where his friend Nick, played by Robert Prosky, he gives him this golden ticket, which he said was from Houdini, and he has one half of it. He's watching the film Jack Slater 4, opens up with which is like Jack Slater is like his favorite second cousin, Frank, played by Art Carney. This is his last film he did before he passed. And this Italian mob boss, played by Anthony Quinn. And he has this hitman, Benedict, played by Charles Dance. And Charles Dance, he was absolutely fun in this role. And with Charles Dance, he's been in a lot of films too. Of course, he was in Alien 3 though, but he's been in other films. And he's appearing in Godzilla King of the Monsters. When I mentioned he was in the he was in the trailer, he says, "Long live the king." And I like Charles Dance. It's just he was absolute fun as the hitman of Benedict. With this with this take on with this character with the glass eye, and he never misses. Wherever, and I snap my fingers and that. So Charles Dance was absolute fun as Benedict. And when Schwarzenegger, Jack Slater, goes to his Frank's house, and he gives him some info about the mob, and he dies. Then he has these cards, countdown, it's a bomb, and then actual good explosion of the house blowing up, and then the two cops are there, which Danny says, Jack's okay. Two guys are dead. And there was this older cop who just take on play on Lethal Weapon, and the older cop says, 2 days till retirement. Then you hear that saxophone playing like it was from Lethal Weapon. That was a good nod to that. And you get this fun action car chase, and you have AC/DC's Big Gun playing, which I enjoy that song because I love AC/DC. And Big Gun, that was a good song. And the bad guys are throwing dynamite. Jack shoots one, and it goes in because Danny's gold tickets lights up, and he gets into the movie. And he's in the car chase with Schwarzenegger, and is like, "You're driving with no hands." You think it's easy to practice a lot and never do in heavy traffic. And then he shoots one guy with a dynamite, goes right into this ice cream truck, and one other guy gets an ice cream cone in the head, and he's like, "Ice that guy." Konu phrase. It's always over the top. It's done on purpose. Even the kids wait a minute. The soundtrack, the bad puns. I'm in the movie. So yeah. And he tries to tell him a lot of times this because all point Danny tries pulling all a lot of times this is all in a movie, all the stuff that's happening. And when he gets to the police station, you get Sharon Stone's character from Basic Instinct in there. And when they walk in, Robert Patrick as the T-1000 walks by. Oh, Jack, did you see that? Or you get the take-on play where, like, on Buddy Cops, right, where you get two different characters of partnering up, like a skinny cop with a fat cop, or a rabbi cop with, like, a one that's a germophobic. Or one gets taken on with an animated cat cop, which is voiced by Danny DeVito, which Danny DeVito were with Schwarzenegger, one Twins and Junior. That was cool to see. Danny DeVito. And a guy, the chief of police, is always screaming and yelling at him, Frank McRae. And which is yelling at the opening of the movie was Jack Slater 3. You have Tina Turner as a singer. Singer Tina Turner has a cameo appearance there. Saw the bad guy named Ripper, played by Tom Newton, who was in Manhunt and RoboCop 2, and a little role in the opening of Eight-Legged Freaks. He's holding children hostages. One of them is Slater's son, which finally when Tom Newton pulled him off the roof with him. So. And also, I always like the soundtrack, the score, especially the theme for it. Music by Michael Kamen, who, well, because of those things, he also did Lethal Weapon. That's why you get the little music nod to Lethal Weapon there, that saxophone playing. But also, Michael Kamen did the score on the Die Hard films as well. And I like the Die Hard films. The score, he did a good job on the scores on those, which I mentioned when I reviewed them. And so I enjoy the score, especially with down, and especially this character's this big action character. And when Danny's trying to prove him more about this old movie, he takes him to a Blockbuster, where see if any of Schwarzenegger films, and he gives a display promo for Terminator 2. Instead of Schwarzenegger, it's Sylvester Stallone, which I thought was pretty funny, and I love that. Sylvester Stallone as the Terminator. It's like, no, this isn't right. What are you talking about? This was his best performance. He was great in it. I just still try to imagine if Sylvester Stallone as the Terminator, that'd be totally different as Stallone playing the Terminator. I would like to see how that version if Stallone played the Terminator. I would love to see that version. Yeah, but that was I just thought that was just absolutely funny to see that Stallone as in Terminator 2. I'll be back. That would still been I would love to see that. Then he tries to point out to the bad guy's house. I was like, all I have to do is drive around and point to the house saying the bad guys are in there. Takes me to see Charles Dance, and Charles Dance overhears that the kid about his glass eye and the whole other stuff too, and he gets suspicious of that. And where he goes to Slater's house with his daughter, played by Bridget Wilson. And like Bridget Wilson, she's like, well, that bad guy, she goes to start screaming, but kicks the guy's ass. And Charles Dance, he's just like I said, he's just fun as the character Benedict. And then Slater kicks some more ass, and he's like, "Hi!" Takes his two guns to these two guys, and he just goes after Benedict, and then like Danny goes on this little bicycle. But he's like, he tried to do the same thing what Schwarzenegger did with the chicken thing, but to him it's not gonna work. But then Charles Dance, he has the ticket. And he sees he can put his hand through the wall, right? It's the magic ticket. And while this, he had the Twilight Zone theme playing. And then you get another hilarious thing where back at the house, one guy finds like he said he dropped the guy Benedict dropped his eye, and the guy twists it like reads "Vengeance is mine," and clicks, and then Jack Slater goes, "Don't touch!" And it cuts to outside, and the whole place blows up. It's like, "Don't touch!" Boom. And then it cuts to the police chief. He just starts screaming and yelling at them, like, and then he screams so much the steam is coming out of his ears. It's like, did you catch that? I think some of it is English. Uh, and then when he gets fired, he goes to his apartment. Then he shoots the closet. Like the guy falls out. I was like, how'd you know there's a guy in there? There's always a guy in there. Cost me a fortune. Closet doors. Then they found out there's a bomb at a funeral, and he talks with his former partner, played by F. Murray Abraham, and he knows he's a turncoat as well. And Slater is like, Danny should have told me not to trust you. You killed Mozart. Mo who? Zart. Which of course goes mentioned to Amadeus because F. Murray Abraham won an Oscar for the film where Mozart died in that film. So pun to that. And then like later on, when he's talking with Slater is out in the real world with his mom, he's listening to Mozart. He's like, "What's that? It's Mozart." The guy that practice killer is like, "Yeah, I like it." So you got a pun to that. It's just so much class. It's just over. The film was over the top on purpose. That's why I'm not gonna want to get too much into it because I reviewed this film before, so I don't want to get too much into it. So you can just check out my previous review on that. But it's just a whole bunch of it's fun, entertaining. Just like you get fun characters, like Schwarzenegger as Jack Slater, just fun, over the top, and he knows it's over the top on purpose. Charles Dance, fun bad guy. Score by Michael Kamen is great. The directing by John McTiernan is great. A lot of actual practical explosions and a lot of fun action. Like it's over the top on purpose. And the whole satire on the action films, the pointing out stuff, and the cameo appearances, like in the real world, the premiere of Jack Slater, where you have Schwarzenegger as himself with his now ex-wife Maria Shriver, and which is like gets the whole thing, the whole explanation of like how quickly that how Benedict wanted us to, because he brought Tom Noon's the Ripper character, the Ripper, out of it as well. And then his whole plan was to kill Schwarzenegger, which, how does that work? I mean, it's not going to make Jack Slater disappear by killing Schwarzenegger, right? That has to be working on like a time travel type of thing, you know? But that whole plan is a little iffy, though, but I'll explain better in my previous review. But they get cameo appearances by Jim Belushi, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Chevy Chase, Damian Wayans, Little Richard, MC Hammer, there was another person cameo appearance. I think that was all of them that was there. But yeah, and I just love this film to death. So yeah, 25 years later, it's still fun as hell. I just don't get the hatred for it. It was nominated for 6 Razzies, which I completely disagree with. For Worst Picture, Worst Actor, New Star, which I think Austin O'Brien was not that bad in the film, but still. But worst song, Big Gun by AC/DC, I completely disagree with that. Like I said, I agree with the Razzies sometimes, but when it comes to good films like this, I completely disagree with it. So yeah, and the screenplay too. I disagree with the Razzies on this. But yeah, the film just didn't do well, because the people didn't think it was completely different after being fresh off from Terminator 2, and also because of Jurassic Park as well. But regardless, though, 25 years later, it's still a fun action film. It's one of my favorite Schwarzenegger films, especially for me and my brother, for action films as well. But yeah, just Last Action Hero. It's just a fun, underrated gem. I just have more I can say. Like I said, you can check out my previous review where I get more into it, though. But I just want to quickly go off on this. So 25 years later, Last Action Hero, I definitely give it 2 thumbs up. Anyone who's not seen this film, or anyone who's a fan of Schwarzenegger, I highly recommend seeing Last Action Hero. If you dislike the film, that's fine to you. We all agree to disagree. So yeah, but yeah, Last Action Hero, love this film to this day. 25 years later, it's still fun, and I still call it an underrated gem. It still is a gem. But thanks for watching, and stay tuned on the next movie review. Later.